Wesley Yinpool over at IGN. Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. So
nice.
What's next? That's right. The last time we talked about this, we said this is the last time we're talking about it because we are sick and tired of it. And the next time we do talk about it will be when it's done. Here we go. It's been a few months of no Xbox Activision talk.
We're free.
Finally say we're free.
We're free.
Over. We never have to talk about this again. You know, fingers crossed.
Thank you, CMA. Thank you. Finally. Now they can just go and hopefully fix Activision somehow.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, it's official. Microsoft has bought Activision Blizzard for an incredible $69 billion. It's the biggest buyout in video game history, and one fell swoop expands Xbox first-party offering to encompass everything from Call of Duty to World of Warcraft. Thoughts immediately turned to Game Pass and how its library of games may expand. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has already said work has begun on bringing Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass, although he suggested it may take some time for them to show up. Activision Blizzard itself has indicated this year's Diablo 4 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 won't hit Microsoft's subscription service until 2024. Microsoft has clearly missed the 2023 holiday marketing window, because that's what it's all about. If you can't market the game, why give it to the people, you know? Given how
how that goes.
Given how long this approval process has taken, Gareth Sutcliffe, senior games analyst at Enders Analysis, told IGN, it's going to be well into 2024 before we start to see the first signs of joint marketing and other combined initiatives with Activision franchise. Whether it's this year or next, it's clear a long list of Activision Blizzard games will soon head to Game Pass, which overnight becomes an even better deal for subscribers. Will Microsoft chuck the entire Call of Duty back catalog into Game Pass? Why not? What about Blizzard's games? It would make a lot of sense. Xbox owners and Game Pass subscribers are already rubbing their hands with glee at the thought of what's to come. But it's worth remembering what this eye-watering transaction is all about, making Xbox competitive again. I don't know about that. We'll see. Just because they own more studios doesn't mean they're good at making games.
I mean, that's we'll talk about it in a second.
Let's see. We know about this. It's no secret that Xbox has struggled. They even admitted that they lost the console war. But there is something I want to talk about in here. Right here. A cursory glance online shows many Activision Blizzard workers are happy with their new corporate overlord. Controversial CEO Bobby Kotick has announced he is sticking around only until the end of the year, ending a 30-year tenure. Yeah.
Get him out of here!
Get him out of there. Right out the window.
Pow! Right out the window. Let's go!
Ending a 30-year tenure at the top of Activision. In recent years, Activision Blizzard employees have issued a number of complaints about sexism, a toxic work culture, and even walked out over reports Bobby Kotick failed to make the company's board aware of allegations of rape and other serious misconduct. California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing sued Activision Blizzard in July 2021, alleging a retaliatory frat boy culture. Activision Blizzard has denied the accusations.
You don't say.
Yeah, and I mean, there's more on that, but we talked about it back in 2021 and 2022. We've talked about this a lot as things went on, but it's time. He's finally out of there. I love how it's not that he's getting booted by Xbox, but how he put out a note saying, "Oh yeah, I'll stick around till the end of the year," and then
I'm just doing them a favor.
Like it's his choice too. Like I bet you more than anything, it's like guaranteed.
Your contract is up.
It's not his choice.
Right, December 31st. 11:59. You better be skipping your way out of that office. All right.
Yeah. So by the end of the year,
little rat face cretin
out of there. I guess he put out. Here's another article, real quick, from IGN that. He put out an email to employees that said, "I've long said that I am fully committed to helping the transition. Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of ABK, reporting to him. We have agreed that I will do that to the end of 2023. We both look forward to working together on a smooth integration for our teams and players." I love, though, like, because an acquisition of this magnitude is going to take more than like a month and a half or 2 months to transition. Like, so
which is why he's staying on, so Phil can focus on like paperwork and legal stuff and all that.
Yeah, but I know, I love how his reasoning for even staying on till the end of the year is like, because I need to help with the transition. It's like, dude, like No, they're just like
No.
they're locking you up in your boardroom and
I was
just
going to say, you're just sitting in that chair. That's all they need is somebody to sit in the chair until January, okay?
Like you're not doing anything in 2 months. There's like that's not enough time to do anything. Like a transition this large, like it's going to be happening for the next 6 months at least. You know, like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they already took his key card and all that stuff.
Like, you know,
and they just told him, Bobby, just come in and sit down, dude. That's all you got to do.
The coffee shop at the entrance, just chill there.
You don't even got to go to your office.
Oh man, yeah. It's crazy that it finally happened, and I'm happy that we never have to talk about this game again. I mean, we'll probably talk. We'll talk about when the games come to Game Pass, because that's what we are. We're a podcast that talks about the game news, so we're gonna be like, hey, you can now play Call of Duty on Game Pass. But other than that, like, I'm so happy this is finally over, and what a journey it's been. How long was it? I feel like it said in this article somewhere.
2021, I think they announced that.
Like a year and a half or something, right? Like it's been a while.
Like late 2021, I want to say.
Crazy. Yeah, I thought it said in this article. I'm not seeing it, but yeah, it's crazy that it's been such a long process of trying to work through all like the rigmarole and legal stuff, and man, and to think they finally did it. So Adrian, what, just like this, the title of this article, what's next? What do you think is gonna happen here? Because
I mean, your immediate thing, right? If I'm Phil, my immediate thing is I gotta get stuff on Game Pass ASAP, right? Mm-hmm. Now, some stuff, of course, is gonna take a long time to get on because you have to reformat a lot of things. You're gonna have to port them over, right? My immediate thing would probably be I wouldn't do classic Call of Duty right off the bat because you got Modern Warfare 3 coming out and you want the focus to be on that, right?
I mean,
so
real quick here, they won't have to port over too much because most of the games have already been on an Xbox console at one time or another, as far as Activision games for the most part. So, but
Blizzard stuff it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, but I mean, most Blizzard stuff comes out on PC as well, and like that's so they just. If anything, they're just transitioning launchers. That's it. It's still going to be the same game. Just instead of having to download the freaking Blizzard launcher, which sucks so bad, to be able to just use Game Pass will be way nicer.
Right. But I think that takes more work than we think. I don't know. I don't think it's just a pick up and put down. My big thing would be announcing what we have coming as far as Game Pass goes. Like, even if I was going to put classic Call of Duty on there right now, I wouldn't put it out right now. I would say those are coming, you know, maybe in a couple months from now, just to give Modern Warfare 3 room to breathe and sell and be the hot topic, right? The big thing, and I think a lot of people miss this a lot, is Microsoft didn't buy Activision Blizzard for Activision or Blizzard. They bought it for King. Because King makes more money than both of the other two put together, as far as the mobile market is concerned. Okay. So that's the big real like 4D chess play, is getting King. So I am interested to see what their plans are with that, or if they're just really sitting on them to collect the revenue, because there's a billion people that play mobile games. I think they checked. Yeah, it's gigantic market.
Something insane, yeah.
And you have what could potentially be the biggest player in that market with King. So that's the win that they got. Everything else is like, you know, ancillary, what are they? Consolation.
Yeah.
But as far as like what we're interested in, like the actual full-on console game or PC game experience, yeah, I would probably this week, if I'm not any slower, if I'm Phil, I would be getting the message out, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z games are coming to Game Pass soon. And then I would be at Blizzard saying, how can we get World of Warcraft on Xbox ASAP?
Yeah, I know we've talked about that before. I could see them trying it, but man, I just don't. Yeah, that's gonna be that's a big job. Like they almost have to come out with a separate version of the game as well. Like it can't be, because similar like how Diablo on console is different than Diablo on PC. Like, yeah, I would have to control very differently, have to play very differently. Like, it couldn't be the same one for one World of Warcraft as far as controls go. I don't think. Like, I don't know. In my head, like I just think of like my buddy Keith, who's super into World of Warcraft, and whenever I would play with him or watch him play, he's streamed a few times. His screen is just full of like 100 different macros that he can do with 100 different keys on his keyboard and combinations and all this stuff and all these stats and all sorts of craziness. So I'm like, how do you even begin to transition that over to a controller with like a quarter of the buttons less, like a fraction of the buttons of a keyboard? Like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure the average player isn't playing with 100 and something macros and stuff like that. And then the players who are playing that aren't going to play on Xbox anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Like the hardcores probably won't play on console, but I mean, it's just, they're going to have to dumb down the game a lot. Because I think people do that more often than we might realize, though, because that is the whole, like, it's like people get competitive into doing like raids and stuff like that and being able to like spam whatever they need, whether it's an item or an ability or.
I mean, it's possible though, because people play Final Fantasy on PS5, and that's essentially the same game. Like they don't cut anything from that, so. I think it's just in the way that whatever control scheme that you come up with that works.
I guess it just seems like that'll have to be a huge overhaul for World of Warcraft, but something that something that I was curious about, because in this article they say the new games probably won't become the Game Pass until next year. But I was curious. I was like, when they acquired Bethesda, how quick was it before games got put on there? So what I found,
maybe a month.
Not even that. Not even. So they officially acquired Bethesda on March 9th, 2021. And then March 11th, 2021. So what's that? 4 days later, they put out a post saying tomorrow. So the next day. So 4 days later, or 5 days later, 20 of Bethesda's biggest games were coming to Game Pass. So within the week, we could have 20 some Call of Duty or Activision Blizzard games coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, that
aren't the new stuff necessarily. If they follow the same timeline as they did with Bethesda and ZeniMax.
I think we will get old stuff. I just don't think it'll be Call of Duty. I think it'll be everything but Call of Duty, and Call of Duty will come later.
Yeah,
it'll come before the end of the year, but it won't come right now. Just because Modern Warfare is next week, I think. Next week or the week after?
Because when this happened before, like they brought Doom Eternal, and that was a fairly new game at that point, right? And yeah, they had some big hitters here on that this list that came out, that next day or whatever. So I don't know. I could see some, maybe like the Modern Warfare, like the one from last year and the year before, like the newer Modern Warfares.
Yeah, those make sense.
And then like Vanguard and stuff like that. Like, so any Call of Duty from like the last like 4 or 5 years, I could see them picking some of those. Probably, I wonder if they'll put the like the Crash Insane trilogy.
Yeah, like Crash will be on there. Spyro will be on there.
Spyro, like stuff like that.
It's probably some kind of Skylanders. I don't know how they're gonna make it work because you need toys for it. Maybe they have like a digital version you can play like that.
Maybe like Diablo 3.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Hawk?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tony Hawk 1. The only reason I ask is because I was reading something somewhere, but apparently like there's something like super busted with like the online, and the game came out a couple years ago, and there hasn't been an update on the game pretty much since it came out. Like they've just abandoned.
That's because they took it off. They took them off of it and made them make Call of Duty like every other Activision studio ever.
I was like,
so they didn't have time to fix it.
So wild. Oh,
but as far as the single player is fire.
Oh yeah,
so
single player is amazing.
Right.
You know what they're going to bring to Game Pass? You're going to love this. They're definitely bringing Overwatch 2. Got to bring Overwatch 2 over there.
Yeah, they are. That makes too much sense. It makes too much sense not to. That's honestly where it belongs at this point. I can't recommend anybody to buy it. So if you could try it for free, do it. I mean, you could download it for free on.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Still, it's free already. As that was the joke. Is like it's already free, but it's like, oh yeah, they'll bring it to Game Pass.
Maybe they could do like you get like how the Riot deal. Maybe you get like characters for free. or something if you get it through Game Pass.
Yeah, that's true. On yeah, you're right. On Game Pass, all the right, like you get all the characters unlocked and stuff like that. So yeah, I could see them doing. Is there even like a special? Let me look on here because yeah, if they
and that's the
like
same thing that I was saying with World of Warcraft. I still think that would be a good idea. Either one of the two ways, right? If you download the game through Game Pass, you don't have to pay the subscription because it's included with Game Pass, number one. Or you download it through Game Pass, you pay the subscription, but you get the expansions. That'll be the incentives for you to get the game on Game Pass rather than Battle.net.
Right.
One of those two, I think, would work.
Yeah, I think, man, I think they like their. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say I feel like World of Warcraft, like it's just a staple to have a subscription. So I feel like if anything, they'd go with still pay a subscription, but you also but you get the expansions for free.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
You get all past and you get future expansions for free. Yeah. That would be the big like, boom, kicking the door down kind of deal.
Yeah, but you never know. Like they might. I don't know. They'd lose a lot of money, but. I was gonna say is like,
would they? Because if they make it right back up in the.
Let me finish. They might lose a lot of money with this idea, but just to simplify it, what if they just do both?
They could do it though. They could eat that because the number of subscribers that they may get from it would easily outweigh what it would cost to do that, right? Because not everybody is gonna. There's still going to be people who do it through PC on Battle.net because that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
This is going to be a niche, I think.
Or yeah, I don't know.
But I definitely think they'd be crazy not to do that. At least not to have some way or some mission started to get World of Warcraft on Xbox, number one. And I think Diablo 4 is coming early next year. I think the old Diablos come now. I think 4 is coming early next year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I think too. I mean, that's what this article is basically saying too. Like Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty and the new Diablo 4 like aren't coming until well into 2024 is what this article said. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'd be nice to have Diablo 4 sooner, but it sounds like both of the any new games are a ways off, which
right.
I get. Takes time to get them.
They want to get as many sales as they can out of them first.
Exactly.
Like Diablo 4 has been out for a while, so I can see that being early next year. And then Modern Warfare 3, I could see being late next year because that'll be around the time that the next whatever Call of Duty is coming out.
Right.
So then they would just push that one to Game Pass and push the new one to buy.
Or like at Summer Game Fest, they announce it. So like at the beginning of summer, like, hey,
right,
kicking off summer. All the kids are off on summer break for school. Play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 with Game Pass. Boom. There you go. Like they get they get a huge spike in subscriptions over the summer, and then yeah, they're set well into the fall and when the new one comes out. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Is Candy Crush on PC?
I think it is. I don't.
Why don't we put Candy Crush on PC Game Pass?
Candy Crush Saga. Surprisingly, the internet doesn't have the answer. It's wild.
That sounds like a no-brainer to me. PC Game Pass exclusive.
Yes, it was brought to Windows in 2015.
There we go. I don't know what the hook would be because I don't play Candy Crush, but I'm sure like some kind of currency or gem or something that you can do.
There's already a currency in there because it's already a free-to-play game.
Right.
So it's just like, basically they would just be making money off of the currency.
They'd have to come up with some kind of hook that your average Candy Crush player would be like, oh God, I gotta have that, you know?
Oh, to make it worth jumping in the Game Pass instead, yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it would be like some of the in-app purchases here. I'm looking at Wikipedia and it says some of the in-app purchases are like extra lives or extra time or whatever. Like I just imagine like, oh, each month maybe they get bonus lives or something like that.
Right.
That's something.
Or even make like exclusive levels. I don't know, Game Pass exclusive levels, or look, I don't know what the game consists of. I know it's a puzzle game, but that's about the extent of it. So
sorry, excuse me. So I felt like something was tickling my ear in my headphones. I keep taking off and expecting to see a spider. I am happy. I'm happy to report there's nothing in my headphones, but something keeps.
That's Super Gamer by sending a little jolt there, letting you know I'm watching. I'm waiting.
Electrocuting me through my headphones. I don't
it's
like
changing
that.
The current.
I don't like that one bit. Yeah, no, this is this could change so much for the Xbox, especially the Game Pass landscape here. But it changes as like, it's going to change Game Pass a lot and the value of Game Pass. But my biggest worry still, and we've talked about this already before, Xbox can barely manage all the new Bethesda and ZeniMax studios. How in the world are they supposed to now manage all these new Activision Blizzard King, like this studio, like, and all the studios that are under that umbrella? I'm just worried about the quality of some games going forward, unless they can get more people that Phil Spencer can release some control and pass it on to other people. He still maybe checks in with them, but there needs to be more, I don't know, just more people who care and with power that are closer to the studios. Because I feel like, and maybe they have that and they're just not vocal about it, but at this point, the way they portray it seems like Phil kind of likes to have his fingers in all the pies, and it's a little too much. Like, it's almost like, no, you just need to have like someone with close to Phil's power, but actually like this person works just with this this group of studios, like maybe like 2 or 3, and then this person deals with these 2 or 3, this person deals with these 2 or 3, kind of like break up the power a little bit. And they all report to him and he can hear updates and stuff, but they need this better quality control. Cause it's sad. Like what happened with Redfall. And even, I don't know, like Starfield was not a
home run.
I was going to say it wasn't a home run, but it also wasn't a failure. I wouldn't say Starfield was a failure in any way, but it also wasn't quite, the home run that they were hoping for. And so something needs to change. Something needed to change, and now more so when they pile on another bunch of studios. Like, something really needs to change, so that way the trajectory of their quality is better. It's because at this point it seems like they're going for quantity over quality, and that's scary. That's always scary, because that just means the quality is out the window. There's only so much you can do. So I don't know. I hope the best for them, because they have great IPs, both Xbox and now Activision Blizzard. So I'm really hoping they can keep making cool stuff, but it's just there's just been some red flags over the last few years, and it's worrisome. That's all.
Somebody had a good question earlier I can't remember who said it, but it's an interesting ask. If you're Phil Spencer and you're Microsoft, do you get rid of the Activision name?
No,
because it has so much attached to it.
Yeah, you can't.
And just, why's that?
Because exactly like you just said, it has so much attached to it, like history-wise. Activision is like, that's like Twitter rebranding to X. If you got rid of Activision and called it something else, or just like I called it whatever, I think that'd be the same thing as calling, like when they rebranded Twitter to X.
You think so? I don't think many people hold Activision in as high regard as they did, 20 years ago at this point in time. I think
no, but it's
I
still
think when
like
people
I
think but I think when people hear Activision, they think more of the controversy now than they do of, this company's been around a long time. Activision also I don't know. Have they I don't necessarily see them as like, they're such a a tentpole, like a foundation. I mean, I don't know. I don't see them as the juggernaut that they once were. Most times now, when you talk about Activision, people just think of Call of Duty and not the history of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong, but yeah, I again, like, I mean, again, I could argue the same thing about Twitter. Like, more recently, like, I think people have talk trash about Twitter and whatnot, and it's like probably at its lowest point value wise, but people are still lost their minds at the name change and like and all that. So I just even though I don't know, I just think it'd be a dumb thing. Like, there's just so much, so much history there to just be like, nah, yeah, we're ditching the name and you're just gonna be absorbed into X, Y, and Z studio. That just seems wild to like, you spent $69 million
billion
dollars, $69 billion on something. It would just seem wild to just throw away all that. This is a cringy word, but clout, that name, whether positive or negative, which again, recency bias, it's negative. But honestly, if you think about it, you're like, man, like, there's just a history there, a storied history between the two, between Activision and Blizzard. Like, they have a.
I'm not throwing away Blizzard. No. Blizzard is like salvageable at this point for me. I feel like you can still turn Blizzard around, but I think when I think Activision, I feel like that as a brand, it's too far gone. As far as its current day reputation is concerned, I don't think that they've done anything of note, like of regard, worthy of the name of Activision, if that makes sense, to warrant carrying that mantle. I know it's history to it, but
yeah, I'm just looking at some of their properties they have here. I'm just kind of curious. Now I'm trying to think like
all the properties everything stays the same. We just don't call it Activision anymore. We call it just Xbox Game Studios. Maybe we come up with another name for it or something, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see a reason to keep calling it Activision when you're trying to rest on 40-year-old laurels that most of the audience today has never even heard of or played,
Yeah, but I think there's not necessarily a good reason to change the name either. Like, I can't think of a solid good reason to change it.
I mean, the guy sitting in the head office is a pretty good reason.
Yeah, which
that for starters,
which they're ditching at the end of the year. So it's like
they are
right, like they're cleaning house, hopefully, starting to at least. Yeah, it seems like let's see, the 90s, the Quake series, Tony Hawk series. In 2000, it had Spider-Man, X-Men, Call of Duty, Wolfenstein. They did Doom 3. Guitar Hero, Crash Bandicoot series, Spyro the Dragon, Prototype, 2010.
Prototype was EA, I thought.
Not according to Wikipedia. Let me double check that. Prototype 2 was published by Activision. So you're right. Like, there's not a ton of stuff that you're like, oh yeah, Activision, yep. But again, it's just like they've been around since 1979, like decades and decades of just a history behind that name. It just seems crazy to throw it away, but again,
I don't think there's anybody these days that are like, oh, an Activision game, instant purchase, like people would say, oh, a Nintendo game.
Yeah, but people know the name.
A Sega game.
Yeah,
PlayStation game.
You're right, but but people still know that they might not be going out to buy an Activision game specifically, but I think people see it and they know, oh yeah, I know Activision. They make Call of Duty, they make whatever. And so, yeah, it would just seem especially with Xbox buying it now, this is their chance to turn that around and to either bring back old IPs or make up some new IPs now and kind of rebuild that name. Here's their chance to rebuild a name that people already know and to polish it up and make it this tentpole thing for them now. Like people can be like, oh, okay, this is the Activision that we all think we remember. Because you're right. Like, yeah, looking back here, it's like, all right, they didn't necessarily have a lot, but I don't know, like me, like just now, like I kind of looked at it rose-colored glasses, like, oh yeah, Activision did everything, right? Like I remember that, like they made great games, and then I look at the list, I'm like, really, they didn't make that much,
Right?
But that's the whole thing. Like, oh, okay, like even though they didn't make that much, there's other people in the world who are like me who still be like, oh yeah, and Activision, they made good stuff, and if they actually looked at it, they'd be like, oh, well, maybe not, but again, I think this is a chance to kind of like what people remember, making that a reality now. What they think they remember, making that a reality now. Because there's people, I think most people know Activision, but you're right, they're not necessarily like going to kind of like back in the day. Like I remember, growing up, I've told the story of like me and my dad, like when we heard like, oh, we got to go get the new Ubisoft game. It didn't matter what it was. Like Ubisoft made it, it's a banger. And so this is Activision's chance to kind of like get back at that on a caliber like that, I think. Wait, now that Xbox owns it.
Yeah. Them and Blizzard.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Have to keep our eye on it, I guess. Hopefully it works out. But they got to Xbox has to get better at balancing these studios, or else this is all going to be for nothing.
Yeah. No, 100%. They're just going to keep piling on all these studios putting out mediocre.
They're an Embracer group that can afford it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it becomes Embracer group, but they're not having to shut stuff down because they just they got Bill Gates money. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.